Hey guys, it's Will. I want to cover the top three robotic stocks that I have my eye on right now for this upcoming week. Hopefully, you guys enjoy. Let's get into it. So, before I break down some of these stocks, I actually want to just give a shout out to our Stockmate members. We just launched, shout out to Keith, Reggie, Vasil, Charles, Xavier, Gregory. I mean, and this list goes on and on because look at how the orders are rolling in and it says $0. That's because we're giving away our free t-shirts for Stockmate that you get when you're a lifetime access member. So if you guys want to get those t-shirts, make sure to go check out the second link down below. We got a lot of things going on. Speaking of Charles getting his t-shirt, shout out Charles, your $1,200 gain following your live trade over 2 weeks. He kind of breaks it down, working a full-time job, making it work, and all these things. I'm just so excited. We got some more earnings that we're going to be covering for this week, along with some price targets. And of course, we'll be going live tomorrow morning at Market Open. If you'd like to be there, it's that second link down below. And right now, we have lifetime access at the price it is. We're actually going to be closing lifetime access in the near future, and there will only be yearly access for a limited time. At some point, we'll have the lifetime access come back, but it will most likely be more expensive, and it will be only for a limited time. Probably on a quarterly basis, we'll introduce it back. But I just thought I'd let you guys know right now that lifetime access is still there, or you can do quarterly if that works better for you. So guys, let's take a look here. We're looking at the top three stocks for robotics. I'll be keeping my eye out. There's a lot of companies you could look at, but one of them that everybody's just begging me to look at, it seems like, I'm getting so many messages, is this one, Richtech Robotics. Richtech Robotics was at 52 cents just about 3 months ago, and it shot up to $5.20 before selling off to, what is that, around $2 a share, and now it's at $2.90. So down about, if it reaches up to its previous high, that's basically 100% increase. But when it's in this pattern that's starting to develop, it's interesting. I want to go into the technicals, but before we do, let's take a look at the company as a whole. There's three things we look at. The first is the market. The second is the analysis, and the third is a plan. In the analysis, there's something that we pay attention to, and that is the technicals, the news, and then the financials. So we're going to start here, Richtech Robotics. I'm going to start with the financials. Since it's a smaller company, we have to just approach this with caution. So let's take a look. Very small market cap, about 350 million. So still pretty small. We check the financials over here. Let's take a look at their revenue. So again, I think it was 300 million. Is that what we said? And they have revenue of just about $500,000. So revenue on that quarter, okay, they did about 1.5 million in the quarter previously in revenue. They were doing a million before that. And so it looks like they're around like $5 million a year or something like that in revenue. You'd see the year over year was down, net income was down. And when I look at these, they don't look too good at financials. I'm not too fond of the financials, but let's jump into some of the news. That net profit margin is mainly what I'm looking at, negative 563%. It basically means that they're burning through some cash. So let's see what we can find about the company. And the reason I'm saying it first is because it's the one that I have the least amount of research done on. And that means that I don't want you guys to get the best one first, because I want to, this is a cautionary target first. It's cautionary. Now, it doesn't mean it's a bad investment, but what we want to look at is some of the news and what makes up this company. So let's take a look at their company, what they do. And this is interesting. I have a video on my phone of a company. I don't know if it was Richtech Robotics, but I was at CES and it was like emptying a dishwasher and filling a dishwasher. And that's interesting. So you can see they're boosting auto shop efficiency with automated delivery. So that's something that could play a key role. They're also in the drink and the beverage space, as you can see. And is there any other ones here? serves coffee and more with ghost kitchens in Walmart. So it's serving in Walmart right now. Is that correct? That's pretty cool. Um, and then they got some as featured ons. Our robot lineup. So they have Adam, which is a friendly, interactive, two-armed robot that can perform a variety of tasks, including food and beverage preparation. That's actually very interesting. And I think that could be very important for a lot of the food industry. How many times do we hear like fast food workers saying, I'm not getting paid enough and I hate this job? I mean, let's say it could be better for them to do something else. And I don't mean that in a way that is degrading at all. I mean, I personally have a lot of friends that started out, like I have a friend that started out working at a place called Jim Boy's Tacos, and he was working there for quite a few years to get by and save up money. And he lives in Boulder now, and he's got an awesome life. And he works in this really cool company where they build vans and custom build them Mercedes Sprinter vans to take out in the open. They have very luxury customers. Everybody starts from different places, but I just feel like when it comes to and maybe you don't need an explanation for that, but let's just say it can replace people that don't want to do those tasks because they're very repetitive. Fair enough? Scorpion is an AI-powered robot bartender that provides drink recommendations. Okay, so it seems like they're focusing in drinks, but we also saw the auto shops. It says they got Matra D Plus, an efficient server robot designed for complex restaurant layouts. Seamless medical deliveries, so that's MedBot, possibly for inside of a hospital. Makes a lot of sense. I mean, think about how many times a nurse has one medication that they need to put into a room that's going to be used later, and they have to spend 10 minutes going from here to there in the building, from the top floor to the bottom floor, whereas they could just put it in a robot. The robot will get in the elevator, it will go down, it will take you the stuff, and that nurse could be working on looking at patients and preparing to make better assessments of patients, things like that. Wouldn't that be helpful? And so I think that's pretty good. That's value. Titan, streamlined parts delivery with this heavy duty robot. That's crazy. Parts delivery. That's what we're saying. This is pretty cool, actually. Dusty ES, a compact floor cleaning robot that sweeps, vacuums, and scrubs in tight places. Okay, so kind of like Ramba, right? Or is that what they're called? The ones that go around, but this one's, they're in different industries here. And then they have an industrial floor scrubbing robot that's designed to professionally clean 22,000 square feet an hour. So they got Skylark, the first multifunction hospitality robot in the US. It can communicate to guests, deliver items using elevators, clean up messes, and even dispatch human employees for more complicated tasks. And they have some things you can learn about. He says they have 120 plus global partners. We'll have to see what those partnerships look like. And they have a Better Business Bureau rating of A+. They're covering the basics on their marketing, which I like. They just show all their products, everything that they have. They say, hey, here's who is talking about us. I personally like that. I like that straightforward approach, easy to see. And here they have videos of the robots doing the stuff. And if we skip through, you could see it performing tasks inside of a restaurant, and that is at Walmart, I believe, and it's serving up customers. And this is something that I believe, I mean, if you think about Uber working with the next company we're going to talk about here, this will make a lot of sense. So that's actually really interesting. So here's the thing with the value of this company. There's a lot of money to be made in this industry. This market is most likely going to be it's a disruptive technology that could impact a lot of markets, not just one. So there's a lot of potential there. If you head over to investors, you could see more of their news directly from their website. So they have a grand opening at a place in Las Vegas. They are They had some. Oh, so CES. They were at CES 2025. All right, just making sure because I was like, I swear I saw this at CES. I did. So that makes sense. And I thought it was really cool. I actually took a video. I have it on my phone. It was actually one of the few things. So I was like, oh, that seems so cool. On top of that, when it comes to the value that they're providing, we could see a lot more potential in this industry. And to see them not just making one, but many robots is pretty cool. As we get into some of past the financials, which we didn't really like too much, the news looks really good. So let's take a look at the chart and then we'll go from there. Right now, they have this trend that's starting to develop, and it is possible that, like any trend, if it is healthy and holding true, that this could be a good buy. And the reason why is we go back. Let's say that we look at this trend, you can kind of see it start to develop. So you kind of see that it had a very sharp spike to $6 before pulling back. And you can also see this previous consolidation right here. Previous consolidation, that's where it really started to break out. And in that consolidation, you could find this support here and a support there. And it really validated that support. And now it's been consolidating, starting to push up actually. And so in its current trajectory, you can see there's this, there's about two other levels of resistance. There's a level right here. See this resistance here that's also acting as a support right there. There's consolidation, a little bit of a resistance. You get over here, that's a support. And it's kind of this other level of support that we could see it possibly drop down to here. It almost dropped down to this kind of zone right here. It's more of a zone, I would say, right there, and then recovered sharply. It dropped down there on Friday, and then after hours shot up, and now it dropped all the way down to $2.50 and then shot up to $2.90. And so now that we see it starting to make this break, this is why it's interesting, is because when it's in a trend, if I just get rid of all the drawings right now, when it's in a trend, oftentimes it's going to use this 200-day moving average as a support. And that's what it's doing here. Then we saw it break below the 200-day moving average. And when it did, here it became bearish. See how that blue line was acting as a resistance as well? And then when it started to become bullish, it was holding above that blue line, a little bit drop below, crossed above the 200-day moving average, and has been playing. It's been consolidating in a way from left to right here. And so now it's breaking above this 200-day moving average, and then it basically retested again. It tested it down, and that's something it does before it continues up. And so if it's going to continue up, there is some potential. Let's say that this previous resistance here is the level that it reaches. See that previous resistance? That right there is, it's about a 40% increase, or I think less than that. Let's see, from here and from here, it's about 30% increase. Now, if we see it get to previous highs, then that would be a lot higher. We're talking about 40% or over 100% return on investment. So we're going to be covering this closely. I'm not too happy with the financials, but I know they have some earnings coming up. We'll see what that looks like. Overall, I'd like to see some more opportunities present themselves at market open, see what the dips look like, and we'll potentially be trading it there. And if you'd like to be there at market open, StockMate, again, that second link below, would love to have you there. So that's the first one that we covered, and it's got some room to grow itself in some financials. It needs to improve. Let's take a look at Serve Robotics. So Serve Robotics we've been covering for a couple months now. And you can see, with the exception of that sell-off, let's see, was this mid-December? Kind of. No, it was actually there. So not really any crazy consistency, a little bit of a trend happening before breaking pattern. But you can see this trend that's starting to develop again is also very consistent. So what we're looking for in the technicals, because there's three things we look at for Serve Robotics. We look at the technicals in the analysis, the technicals, the fundamentals, and the news. And these technicals look pretty good. A little bit overextended. You can see it did get rejected there. And now it's maybe making that run up to $21. And so it's been consolidating in a way, but really holding this trend. And previous highs we saw of $24 would be possible. Does look a little more overextended. Just look at the RSI, look at the MACD. It looks like it might sell back down, or this is a place where it's gotten rejected numerous times. Could sell back down here to that $16 range before continuing up. But it's one I wanted to cover for a few reasons. They are partnered with Uber. So imagine you have the restaurant using a robot with Richtech Robotics to basically, what do? They bring up the food from the restaurant. They make all the food or pour the drinks. Now you have Serve Robotics come, this robot that goes to the restaurants. It goes to the restaurants and it comes and it gets filled with the food and it drives to the house or to the apartment or wherever and delivers the food. So they're partnered with Uber Eats. They are partnered with NVIDIA. So NVIDIA is a lot of the tech that backs this company. You got Delivery Hero, 7-Eleven, and you start to see the whole picture of the robotics kind of play together. They're using really similar marketing. You can see they have the as seen on. I feel like I should add that to our channel. We got some stuff too like that we've been seeing on places. Highlights, Serve Place, Samo in everybody's in LA. Okay. Serve announces go public transaction and $30 million financing. So getting more financing. Serve unveils commercial deal with Uber to deploy 2,000 robots. I believe that's in Los Angeles. And you can just see all these things. So when we look at Serve Robotics, I believe their market cap was around like 15 billion last I checked. No, $1 billion. Wow, still pretty small for the market that they're in. This is about a 10 to $20 billion market. They capitalize on it in the US. Globally, it's a different story, but there's a massive market for Uber Eats if they were, let's say, replacing a large share of people that were doing ride shares. And it's kind of the same thing with restaurants. It's like most people, if you go take an Uber, they're like, yeah, I don't get paid enough. I don't even really like doing it. Maybe I get it. Some people are like, it's perfect for my lifestyle and it's just extra money and it makes sense for me to do. And that's awesome. I used to drive DoorDash. Literally, I get it. When DoorDash first came out, I was one of the first people to do it, to test it out. So I understand where they're coming from. But what I'm saying is, like, that's a task that it's boring or whatever, because it is repetitive. You're doing the same thing over. And it's like when you find yourself doing repetitive tasks that maybe aren't as creative, oftentimes those are the types of tasks that could be replaced by robots. And so when we look at Serve Robotics, they're at a market cap of $1 billion. Their 52-week high was $24 and their low was $1.77. I wouldn't necessarily be buying and holding this stock unless it was money that I could put aside in a higher risk category, because I think there's going to be so much competition, a lot of competition, but we'll see what happens. But on top of that, this near term looks a little overextended. I like Serve Robotics simply because I think they're in this emerging market where we're going to see a lot more markets grow related to it. So that's why I have it here. That's why we were looking at it. Again, I would look for a pullback here, possibly an entry at market open, or maybe if we see it sell off over the next few days, possibly trading it from this like $16 price point. Like, it would have been great to get back here and then play it up to that $20 price point. So the last one we're going to get into here is the third robotics company. Quick analysis. We just covered it here on the YouTube channel a few days ago, so we'll keep it brief. But basically, this is Symbotic. If you guys want to know what Symbotic is, essentially, you want to invest in companies that are going to be plugged in to big companies. So for example, I found Nvidia stock at an early age because I was wondering what is the tech that's powering Tesla, and that was Nvidia at that time. And so I found Nvidia stock, and that is something that you have to look at in markets where it's like, what big companies? So you could look at Uber and Serve Robotics being good because it's powering Uber for the future of Uber possibly. So that's interesting. And so when we look at this company, Symbotic, the important thing to realize is you're going to have big companies moving towards robotics as they get better. And one of the little known companies here, Symbotic, is the company that's building all of the warehouse tech for the automatic moving and automatic organizing of the warehouses and delivery for Target and Walmart. So Target and Walmart and Albertsons are using this robotics company. You can see they got cabless trucks. They have these inventory management. Basically, Symbotic reinvented the traditional warehouse with an end-to-end system leveraging a fleet of fully autonomous robots and AI-powered software. So they're designing some next-generation robots. You can see them powering, again, as people, let's say, like ordering groceries or ordering something. A lot of people, they don't maybe like to go grocery shopping, and they use something like Instacart or Uber, and someone goes, picks it up, and maybe it's Serve Robotics, it's a robot that brings it from the store to your front door, let's say. So this something, it's like, as people are doing more and more of that, it means that they can't always have employees running in the back and saying, okay, we need this, and we need to deliver this. Employees are there, and what you want is to automate those processes. And so that's where this company comes in. They have robotics that move the inventory around at these companies, and that's something that's going to be big. So that's the first thing. You got that for the news. Check that out. And then the financials, and we'll get into the chart next moves, and we'll go from there. So Symbotic stock financials. So we could see they have been beating their earnings per share. 1,500% they beat it by, 300% they beat it by, 600% they beat it by. Financials looking pretty good. They just signed a $520 million contract with Walmart, which surpassed their entire quarterly revenue of $486 million. So just keep that in mind. They're signing contracts with these companies that are long-term. Their year-over-year is up 35%. Net profit margins are up 10%. And the net income just sinking a little bit down there, -$3 million, which is pretty small in retrospect, looking at how they're progressing with the contracts. But they have had positive quarters there. You see a positive net income. There was a negative one, and there was a negative one. But yeah, they have positive ones, and you see the year-over-year numbers increasing. So I like this stock for robotics. I think that they're in the right emerging market to be in if you're going to dominate in robotics. They're recently pulled back to $26 from being up pretty high. At one point, if we go to their stock, there was a time when this company was trading at like $65 a share up here, and they sold down, and they sold all the way down in September to $15 before recovering to $41, and now they're at this $25 range. Back in November, I was watching their earnings, and I was trading after their earnings here to see this recovery. We did a little bit on the YouTube, you guys saw. I think it was a video where we were flying from Colombia to the US, and basically we've been covering it for a while, and now they just had these good earnings that came out, and you see this trend start to develop. It's starting to develop this uptrend. They're right at this previous resistance and consolidation, and I think right now might be a time where if they break up above this 200-day moving average, could be a lot of indication for future growth. They've been hanging under $30 a share for a while, and to see them in that range of $30 to $60 a share, to me would make a whole lot of sense. So the next kind of like hyper bullish trend would be up to here, like $42. That's about 63% increase. Now, if we're just kind of bullish, the next level is about $30 a share from 26, which is over 10% return. That's 28% return. So we'll see what happens with the technicals on Symbotic stock. This is the one that catches my attention a lot, and also that Richtech Robotics, even though their financials didn't look too good. But we'll be trading it at market open tomorrow. If you'd like to be there and surround yourself with other traders and investors, Stockmate, that second link down below, that lifetime access may be expiring for a short period of time. It will go away. And if you want to take advantage of the lifetime access, you don't want to do a quarterly subscription or something like that, then feel free to take a look. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, if I earned your thumbs up, hit that like button. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.